Peace, everyone. It's that time. It's that time for another interview with Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Jordan Perry. So let's get started. Thank you all for joining in. We'll get our guest on in just a minute. She should be standing by in the wings. Hopefully you all had a great day today. And my day went really fast. And I am really surprised that it's that time already. My day went very, very, very fast. But I'm thankful. It was very peaceful. It was relaxing. Although I worked a lot on transcripts for many families, over about 100 transcripts. But so yeah, that was my day. And hopefully it will be on in just a moment. I know that she knows we are, let's see. Alrighty. Yeah, as you come in, girlfriends, let me know where you're coming in from, girlfriends and guy friends. Let me know where you're joining us in from. That'd be great, great, great. Yeah, so you see this time of the evening, I just start to slow down and get a little subdued. But yeah, so I had my kids all today. We didn't do any school. I mean, they did their unschooling time, but I didn't have to do any focused instructions. But I definitely worked on transcripts. Alrighty. So let me know how you all are doing. What's new? What's going on? You got something going on for the summer? Let me know. I got a lot of traveling. Summer is always my travel months. I get excited about that. I get to see some friends and go to some new places. And so that's what I have going on this year. So if you're not part of Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling, if you're not following me there, make sure you jump over to Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Jordan Perry. Like and follow that page. Be sure to hit the share button here when you come on in. Hit share because sharing is caring. You never know who all else may need this information like you are enjoying it at this moment. Someone else may be needing the same information or wish they had some encouragement or insights about homeschooling as they're considering homeschooling. So be sure to hit share button because sharing is definitely caring. Okay, that'd be great. And then also educating our own. We do have our page coming along over there, educating our own. You can follow us there. That's another platform that's in the works. Really excited. Website and everything is being put in place. And so yeah, you want to go over there and follow that too. That's some very, very exciting. I got a video over there that lets you know all about educating our own and what that's all about. So really excited. Very, very, very excited what's coming down the pipeline for that program, where we call it EOO for short, EOO. Yeah, so hopefully, let's see if we have any. Yep, she's all set there. So she's just getting on in a little bit. So as you know, in addition to the Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling, I am also an Option 3 Accountability Association for homeschoolers in the state of South Carolina. If you are in South Carolina, you want to look me up, go to my website. I have all that information on Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling, so you can get connected with me there. And I just basically give legal rights to homeschoolers to homeschool in the state of South Carolina. That's what I do. And they have to join. And thanks for the thumbs up. So they have to join an association, 1, 2, or 3, and most would choose 3 because it's much more free and a lot more freedoms. Hey there, Annetta. How are you doing?
Hello.
Yeah,
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good to see you again. All right, so we're going to share it. And are you going to share a live feed, or are you just going to wait to the end? You're going to let any friends join in with you now?
But how do you do that?
It's okay.
Do you
You just hit the share button, which is on the bottom of on Girlfriends' Guide page. You go to
Okay.
Yeah, go to Girlfriends' Guide. You refresh, and you'll see us pop up there.
Okay.
And when you do, you're just going to hit share to your page. Okay. I just shared it, so
all right.
you can refresh it. It should be up there. You should see it. Just let me know when you're ready. And I'm just going to do all my technical stuff on this side.
Okay. So it's just sharing the post that's
With us in it, where you see us live in it together. Hey there. Thanks for the thumbs up, everybody. Come on in. Yeah, you should see us on Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling on that page. You may need to refresh, and when you refresh, we should be right there at the top. Any luck?
I think so. Yes, I think that's it. I'm not sure, but I'm sharing it.
Okay, I'll see in just a moment once it does. Okay, very good. Let me know when you're done
All right.
and we get started.
We can get
All
started.
right, Bill. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. I am turned up for today's interview with a queen out of Florida, a fellow farmer out of Florida. So excited to connect with her. So let me tell you a little bit about who we are. This is Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Jordan Perry. I'm the host of the show here on live Facebook interviews 3 times a week. Various subjects that I do as far as series. You'll find me talking about different subjects. I've done racist homeschooling and minimalist homeschooling and special needs homeschooling. So this platform is to give voice to the African homeschooling diaspora and those who are marginalized homeschoolers. So this gives their voice where they can share their successes, challenges, nuggets of wisdom, insights, best apps and online resources that they have. This is where you go and dig into their lives and get to see a little bit about them. So this is what this is all about. And I myself, Angela Jordan Perry, I'm a homeschooling mom of 8 children. Now for 18 years. My oldest, when she was 4, and she'll be 22 this year. I mean, we started a little earlier, 3. But so been homeschooling now for these 18 years, and we make our home in the upstate of South Carolina, the northwestern part of the state, where we are self-sustaining farmers. My husband and I have been married for 26 years, and as I mentioned at the very beginning, I also am an Option 3 Accountability Association director here in the state, where I give families rights to legally homeschool. Hi, Rena. Great, welcome. Where I give rights to homeschoolers to homeschool legally all over the state of South Carolina. Okay, so that's what I do as well. One of few other businesses. We have a coffee business as our home business. I'm a direct marketer for a very prestigious company. So those are the things I do. I love all I do, all my life. I love all my life things that I get a chance to do. So anything else? I think that's all. So without further ado, I'm going to get you connected to our guest speaker tonight. I think we have some feedback, Annetta. Annetta, I don't know if it's what the feedback on. Do you have a computer in the room as well?
My tablet. Let me turn it off.
Yeah, it's giving some feedback. There we go. All right, so Annetta is our guest. Annetta, are you ready to make it happen?
I am.
Yes, good job. Well, Annetta is a wife of 14 years, a mom to 2 daughters, 13 and 8, and has been a teacher for 12 years. Annetta grew up in New York City and graduated from SUNY Buffalo State College in 2000. Her hobbies are gardening and crochet. Now, one of her goals is to grow most of her family's food on their 8-acre North Florida property. Another goal is to raise her girls to love Jehovah and to have the courage to pursue their own goals despite whatever challenges come their way. Now, she and her husband decided to homeschool their children after their youngest had a terrible experience in kindergarten. As a teacher, this is a quote from Annetta, "As a teacher, I believe in doing what's best for children. In our case, that meant that conventional school wasn't working for our child. We also felt that our oldest was struggling with feeling stressed and sad about school. She was being asked to take standardized tests, but she wasn't adequately prepared for them." So that's an end quote. One of her cousins, Annetta's cousins, had chosen to homeschool her son, So they decided after some weeks of discussion regarding the pros and cons of homeschooling that they would give it a try too, Annetta and her husband. They have homeschooled for 2 years using Easy Peasy, Lexia Core 5, and CTC Math. Here's another quote, I started out homeschooling our kids. Then our finances dictated that I needed to return to work. My husband, who works from home, took over homeschooling. I initially helped him to plan and reviewed their work regularly. He is now comfortable homeschooling on his own. He taught our daughters how to read, and that just makes my heart smile, end quote. So they also they allow their children to develop and work on their own interests. She says our 13-year-old daughter wants to be a farm to table chef. She is very interested in raising farm animals and growing food. She always searches for the freshest and best ingredients. She cooks and bakes daily, is what Annetta says of her daughter. So Miss Horn, Annetta, is currently teaching in a charter school, but hopes to farm and homeschool full-time in the coming years, in the next few years. So Annetta, I just told the girls quite an extensive bio. So tell us why or how you actually got started. Um, or you told us a little bit about how you got started in school, homeschooling. But tell us the dynamic change of once you got started in homeschooling, you go back to work, and your husband taking that over. What did that look like, and how smooth was that transition?
That transition was, I feel like it was very rough. It was scary because I wasn't there every day making sure that the lessons got done. I wasn't there every day, to micromanage. I think that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to micromanage it and make sure everything was just right. But I kind of learned that, especially when you start homeschooling, the first thing that you need to do is just relax and kind of, some days are better than others. Some days nothing gets done. Some days you accomplish everything. That was one of the hardest things, just coming home and asking, how was your day at school? What did you do? And, I want to see everything, and, learning to let go. Like, if it's okay if they didn't get everything done, and I had to come to it with a lot of understanding and flexibility. Just like I do at conventional school. I'm very flexible at school, as a teacher. So I have to do the same thing. Had to learn to do the same thing at home with my family.
So when you say you wanted to micromanage, what does that mean? What did that look like?
Well, I wanted to make sure that they had all of their papers set out. And I guess it's just really planning it, over planning it, scheduling things, making sure that everything was done on a certain schedule, planning trips and different things. Just making sure that they met the goals, because especially since my youngest wasn't successful with her first year, I wanted to make sure that she was successful, and I wanted her to love learning. And I didn't feel like she learned to love learning during her first year at school. So I wanted to make sure that all of those things were accomplished. And I think um, the first few months that I went back to work, after I went back to work, I would come home and ask, like, what'd you guys do today? And, my husband would tell me, oh, I've been on conference calls all day. And I'm like, oh, so I got nervous. Like, oh my goodness, are they not going to get what they need because he's busy and I'm not here? So I would try to come home from school and kind of sit and go over it and let me see what you did and let me help you. And um, but I had to learn to relax because being a teacher is already a lot to do. So when I come home, I had to trust that my husband had it under control. And coming home one day and hearing her read to me, I knew he's doing it. Like, he's doing this. He's got this. So I just had to learn how to relax and go with the flow a little bit, and trust. I had to learn to trust him with that. So
Gotcha, got that. And the truth of the matter is, I would say that most moms, we're like that by nature anyway, because our home and our territory. This is our territory, which we run. We run like a fine,
Right.
or we try to run it like a fine oil machine. And then when you're not there to look at everything and make sure everything is done, I mean, we get beside ourselves. I mean, we really do. So over the
Right.
years of being a mother and a homeschool mom, we got to learn how to just let go and like, okay, it won't be the end of the world if I don't X, Y, Z, you know? So
Right.
it's definitely a learning curve anyway.
Right. And especially since my perspective has always been conventional school, starting at 8 a.m., finishing at 3, starting in August, ending in May or September or whenever. So I kind of was like, well, what if they don't get everything they need in 10 months? Then I had to adjust and I said, well, why do we have to be on 10 months? We could be on 3 months and then 1 month off. Or as you can see behind me, there's boxes. We're moving. So we haven't been really schooling. Um, but we've been able to school during the move somewhat. My oldest has been really more instrumental in helping a lot with the move. So I think that we're flexible. And now that I see that flexibility coming into play, where my oldest is kind of, she's gone beyond, like, she's maybe getting her lessons in more of a stretched out school year. And that's okay. And being okay with that, not feeling like she didn't get everything she needed to know by June. And that's okay as long as she meets those goals at her pace. And that's another thing that I had to recognize, that conventional school asks the kids to get all of this in 10 months at my pace, at the teacher's pace, at the school's pace, or the curriculum calendar. And it was really important to recognize that my kids don't learn on a curriculum calendar. They learn the way they learn. So it was just important for me to be okay with that. I needed to be okay with my daughter, my oldest, stretching out her seventh grade year. And my youngest daughter was a little bit easier to work with her, with my husband homeschooling her. So that was one of the things. Just, I think that was the biggest issue for me personally, just learning how to be flexible and adjusting from my mindset being the school district calendar to our family's best interest calendar.
Yeah, yeah, and that's huge, and that's the beauty of homeschooling. That's the beauty of
Hmm.
homeschooling, and it just kind of make my heart sad when I talk to homeschool moms, or they either say I'm behind, or we're behind, or something along those lines, and I'm thinking, what are you behind? What schedule are you on? What are you following? There's no
Hmm.
behind when you're homeschooling and you're just had that freedom of living and learning at the child's pace. There's no behind. It's just
Right.
you're just moving ahead with learning. So your husband does predominantly the most of the homeschooling, right? He does the school.
Yes. Right now he
He
does.
does.
Hmm.
Okay, and I know you're hoping to go back and be back home from teaching, and then you would be taking over the homeschooling, correct?
Yes, at some point down the road.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Do you have they set any daily habits that you can share? Things that your husband. I know he works a lot from home and he does that. Are there any habits they've developed?
I think one of the things that they've developed is they've really taken off and um, done their technology. He's very big on technology. So he's taught them a lot about how to use computers, how to navigate computers safely. And I really like the way that, the habits that they have to stay focused while they're working. They start their day at a specific time. My oldest daughter will make them breakfast, and after she makes breakfast for everybody, then she starts her school. Everybody eats, then the little ones start their school. Um, and what's really good about that is that, my oldest is getting that confidence in the kitchen, and that's something that she's really striving for. So they're developing habits of just taking care of each other, um, being responsible, focusing on what they're doing. And I see that when I actually learned about the reading program Lexia Core 5 from teaching at the school where I teach. So when I told my husband about it, actually I used my laptop to do a demo of the program with my youngest daughter, and she loved it. So we bought the program, and that's a part of the habit that they have now. That's a part of the schedule. They do their Lexia time, okay, and it's really helped them to progress with their reading and their personal confidence, and it's given them a chance to really get that knowledge of how to use a computer. And what I really like about it is because I think one of the things I've been cultivating is flexibility. So homeschooling for me, it's just cultivating flexibility. If the day ever comes where they need to go back to conventional school, they will have those skills from those habits of staying focused when you're doing something, starting something and finishing it. That's something that they will have. So I'm even the schedule that they do from day to day, because of my husband's work schedule, there's some things that are, like it doesn't happen every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Some days he's on conference calls for 24 or 48 hours straight,
Wow.
and no homeschooling happens.
Wow.
So those are the days when I know that flexibility is key. Because when I come home from school and I see my spouse, like he's still on the same phone call that he was on when I left for work in the morning. And then we wake up the next morning and he's still on that same call. So that's one of the things that I see, that flexibility. My kids have to learn independence. They have to learn to get it themselves. They have to learn respect. Just be quiet because dad's on the phone. Be respectful. Be helpful. Go get dad something to drink. Or go get yourself something because, dad can't right now. Dad can't go make you a sandwich. So those are the kind of things that I see happening. They're really building their independence and their own sense of themselves.
Gotcha. That is really cool. Very unique. That's good. Tell us as much as you can the worst day of homeschooling. And I like to ask this question. It's my favorite question because it just humanizes us as people who aren't homeschooling. They look at us and they may say, "Oh my goodness, they're homeschooling! Wow, that's amazing." But what is your worst day of homeschooling? I mean, it was so bad that you were already saying, "Okay, you know what? I'm just going to put them in conventional school, and we're going to be done with this schooling." But you all haven't quit, and that's why you're this amazing homeschooling family, working dad at home, mom out the house, and kids who are still homeschooling. Take us to that day or that moment, Annetta.
Oh, goodness. The worst day? That's a really good question. I think, I don't know. I think the worst days are probably those days where he's doing those long conference calls. Those are the worst days. Those are the days when even my oldest daughter didn't get instructions or didn't take the initiative to take something out of the freezer. And it's like, Mom, stop and get some fried chicken, or stop and get a pizza. Mom, dad's been on this call, and, I come home and the house is a mess because he's not been focused on anything, but he has to do this call. Those are the worst days. And even on those days, I don't want to send my kids to conventional school,
Mm.
even on those days, because I know that they're getting what they need from him. They're getting what they need at home. Um, I'm at school every day and I have to split my attention amongst 20 kids. My husband is here for ours, and it's a lot easier to give them the attention they need, even on the days when he's on conference calls. That's why I think those are the hardest days, because they're not getting the maximum from him. They're not getting a lot of focus. But what I do like is one of the programs that he uses. I know you didn't ask about this, but it kind of ties in, I guess. Um, he uses a program so that he can see what they're doing when they are on the computer. I think it's called VCN. And he's the tech guru. But they're on their laptop with their headphones and they're doing their work. And he can see every click that they do, every keystroke, every move of their mouse. He can tell, he can look at his computer, and as he's working, he has another screen up. So he has his work screen and he has the screen where he's watching the kids on their computer. And he can see, like, hey, why did you click that? You know that's the wrong answer. And they're looking at him like, you know what I did? Yes, I know what you did.
Oh,
um, so even on the worst day when he's just had it with his own job, they're still better supervised from my perspective. My youngest, she needs us. She doesn't need to be in a classroom with 20 other kids. She had way more worse days at school than she has had worse bad days at home.
mm,
So the pros and the cons, to me, there are way more pros here at home than there were pros at school. Um, they called the prince. She was in the principal's office every single day.
mm.
Every day. She was in out of class timeout every day. And that school was a K-8 school. And I used to nickname her the mayor because she was in every classroom on out of class timeout. The eighth graders knew her, the sixth graders knew her, everybody knew her because she had spent out of class timeout in their classroom.
Mm.
She would be sent to my classroom. She would lay down on the floor behind my desk and fall asleep
Mm.
after having a tantrum in her class. That doesn't happen at home. He can correct that behavior, or he can work with her on trying to calm her down and trying to figure out what's making her so upset. The worst day at home doesn't even hold a candle to those bad days at school.
Wow.
This was so much better for her.
Wow.
It's so much better.
Well, take us to your most memorable day. Conversely to that, take us to the day where you look at it and say, "This right here is why we're homeschool," and maybe it even brings you to tears to think about it. But take us to that day.
Um, I would say one of the best days has been just the memory of something my oldest daughter has done this school year for me. Um, this year, we've been in the process of putting our house up on our property, and we were living on the other side of town. And I had to drive across town because I found a job at this school, and the school was closer to where our house is going to be. We expected our house to be done in September. Well, not September, maybe by last Thanksgiving. But it wasn't. It wasn't done until last month. So I've been driving across town this whole school year
Mm-hmm.
and not getting home sometimes until 5 or 6 o'clock. Or by the time I got home, dinner was already ready. Sometimes my 13-year-old, or she was 12 when the school year started, she would meet me at the door with my hot plate.
Mm.
Mom, your plate's already done. It's in the microwave. Oh, thank you so much. Or I'd be so exhausted, I'd come home, take a shower, climb in the bed, and she would walk into the bedroom, bring me my plate and a fork. Here, mommy, here's your dinner. Already cooked. She has learned so much this year. I think there might have been 4 days where I had to come home and cook. Days where she was not feeling well, her stomach hurt, or she caught a cold and she just wanted to lay down,
Mm-hmm.
which, how could you fault a child, a 12-year-old going on 13, who cooks every single day?
Mm.
Um, and when I say cook, I don't mean like Kraft macaroni and cheese. Like, she actually uses real cheese and real milk and eggs, and She can make a steak better than Red Lobster. I mean, just the way you like it, um, grilled at perfect char. She's she likes to watch different cultures cooking. So she went through a phase where she was into like Indian spices, and she would just throw a ton of Indian spices and everything. And we had to talk to her about that. Like back off of all those spices. I don't like them. I'm sure they're good in those cultures, but I personally don't like them. So there were a couple of days where the food wasn't edible, but overall, that was the best memory. Just the something I can brag on, that proud mama moment
Mm-hmm.
is, you know, dinners every night and just a special dinner because it was my birthday,
Mm.
or special dinner because it's Mother's Day, or where she cook you exactly what she wants. But the thing that she loves to cook the most, I think, was baked salmon and roasted asparagus. And you just know that she is going to do her best. I mean, it's just absolute best. She can't go to a restaurant and ask for extra butter. One time they brought her margarine and she looked at them like, "What is this?" So
Beautiful.
that was funny. That just the idea that she's come so far. And like you said, it's something that brings me to tears because being that busy working mom, to have someone at home that just cooks for you.
I know. I know. That's huge. That's beautiful, beautiful memory. And kudos to your daughter. And that says a lot to you and your husband. So way to go. Way to go. Well, all of your
Thank you.
girlfriends, yes, who are joined in and who are coming in on replay, thanks for coming in and viewing this interview that I had. This is with Annetta Horn out of Florida. I think it was northern Florida. What is the specific area of Florida?
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah, okay, that's where my in-laws are. So I'm glad to have her on here and her family. This is a mutual farmer, and they're preparing and doing all those things. Just got a load of hogs. Yes, they're my favorite. I love hogs. Yes, I mean,
I know.
love.
I'm looking out the window at them right now.
I love. They're my favorite pets on the farm. But anyway, this is Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling. So thanks for tuning in. You all go ahead and hit the share button. You just never know who needs to hear Annetta's story and her challenges and the triumphs, especially being a working mom, as her and her husband school together, or her husband really takes a lot of the bulk up to the schooling. So this is another insight into someone's life and how they're doing homeschooling. Annetta being a school teacher herself, who's saying, really the best option she feels for her kids is not to be in public school, but to be at home, being homeschooled. So very, very good insights and nuggets. So Annetta, as we go to the end of our show, these are some questions to pick your brain. Just quick answers. You can give one or two sentence answers.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
what is your favorite quote that helps you through this homeschooling journey?
I think just to just to know that love is patient, love is kind, love is, all of the attributes of love, that it really helps me to um, be more understanding and be patient with the process, be patient with my kids, be patient with my husband when my kids don't want to do their work. It's not like conventional school. You can't just give them an F. You have to be patient. You have to help them get through that. So that's my favorite quote with homeschool.
Beautiful. Do you all plan to homeschool all the way through to the end with your girls?
I think what we're going to do is we're going to homeschool up through eighth grade. And then when high school starts, we want to do not conventional high school, but maybe a virtual high school. We want both of them to get a conventional high school diploma and not have any kind of concerns about whether they'll be able to get into a college if that's where they want to do, if that's what they want to do. I would like them to get some type of higher education or certification or technical certificate, something that helps them to be happy. As I've counseled my oldest daughter, whatever you choose to do, choose it because it makes you happy, not because it makes you money.
Mm.
If it doesn't make you enough money, if you're happy, then you won't really care if you're not getting a whole lot of money. So, but you still need to get something so that you can take care of yourself. I think that's, where I am with that. So, as long as whatever schooling they do from ninth through 12th grade gives them the ability to transition to whatever they want to do in life, that's what we're trying to do.
Beautiful. What is the best piece of advice you have received for this homeschooling journey?
I think the best piece of advice uh, came from someone in a homeschooling group that I'm in here in Jacksonville. Just to learn as much as you can and be patient with yourself. Don't beat yourself up if it doesn't look like the way someone else's does. Um, for instance, we've only been homeschooling for 2 years, so I don't feel like we're great at it. But when sometimes I look at other people and I'm like, oh, you're so awesome at this. I want to be like you. I want to do it like you. And I'm like, wait, we don't have the same number of kids. We don't have the same kind of bills. We don't have the same kind of responsibilities. It's just going to look different. You know, it's going to be different. They didn't have the same kind of issues with conventional school that we did. Um, so I think just knowing that, you know, not compare myself to people, not get caught up in whatever that girlfriend's doing,
Mm-hmm.
um, because that girlfriend's homeschooling journey is different from mine. But it's still my journey, and I have to learn to cherish it and um, to just make sure that I'm doing my best for my kids.
Absolutely, absolutely. What is your favorite resource? Do you have a favorite app or online resource or something that you can suggest to the girlfriends here?
Yes, actually. Hi. My favorite app has to be Lexia Core 5. I love Lexia Core 5 um, for reading. It really taps into children's all of the components of reading from phonological awareness all the way up through reading comprehension, including vocabulary and fluency, all of the components of reading. It's all right there in that Lexia Core 5 program. It's very engaging, and it comes with data so that if someone asks you about your child's reading, you have charts and graphs and you know goals that you can set for your child and share those goals with your child, and then you know help your child when your child achieves the goals. You can even print awards for them. So that's one of the things I love that app. My absolute favorite. I think the next curriculum that we decided to use that I like was Easy Peasy. I like it because as a new homeschooler, we're not sure what to do. Easy Peasy is right there. It's got all the components. You can choose not to use some of them even. And everything's right there on that website. All the links are right there, and it's free. Um, my oldest daughter's been using Easy Peasy now for 2 years, and she doesn't call me mom all the time. She calls me mater because she's learning Latin. She learned Latin. She's been learning words in French. She's been learning words in Spanish, and that's something that I don't. I know for a fact she would not have learned Latin if she was going to public school. I know that for a fact.
Gotcha. Well, here we are. We're on our last question, Annetta, the $1,000,000 question. Are you ready for it?
Okay.
All right, Annetta. So if you had to start all over to day one, and let's say perhaps are home and you get to homeschool, you're back to day
Okay.
one, but you have
Mm-hmm.
all your current wisdom, knowledge, skills, all your same experiences. wisdom as it relates to homeschooling, what would be the first thing you would be sure to do in your homeschooling this turnaround, or be sure not to do in this next turn around for starting?
I would be sure to start a child on Lexia. I would do that, um, because I've seen my daughter make reading gains on Lexia, and that's important to me. Um, Something I would not have done. Um, I think that I would have tried to work our finances a little bit better. I wanted to be home to homeschool them in order to give them experiences that they weren't going to get in conventional school. And unfortunately, um, because I wasn't working, we couldn't afford to take them on all of these fantastic voyages, um, and trips. So I went back to work, and now we have the money for all of the trips, but we don't have the time.
Mm.
So those are the kind of things that if I could have done it all over again, I would have maybe tried to stretch our budget in different ways to try to make some of those trips work. Or I don't know. I'm still researching that. I still would like to know how I can be a stay at home mom, a work at home mom, and have the time and flexibility along with the finances to take my kids on the excursions and give them the experiences that I feel like homeschool kids should get.
Yes, yes. So, girlfriends, thank you, Annetta. Girlfriend, you
You're welcome.
are the average of the 5 people you hang out with, and you have been hanging out with Annetta Horn, woo, out of Jacksonville, Florida, this last hour. So you all keep up the momentum and continue to connect with other positive homeschooling moms. Create your sister circle, who will be a positive impact on you, and then you be that positive impact that others can draw from as well. It takes a community of encouragement and wisdom and just camaraderie to oftentimes make it work in this homeschooling. So Annetta, thank you for giving of your time and your wisdom and your nuggets
Welcome.
and
You're welcome.
resources to thousands of homeschoolers worldwide. I thank you, and I appreciate you for giving of your wisdom and insight. So thank you.
I just want to say one last thank you to my husband who's been taking on a lot of the homeschooling. I also want to thank my aunt, Olga Muhammad, and she has also been tutoring my daughters and making sure that they can go to some of those events. I can't take them to. So thank you very much for interviewing me, and I'm so happy to have been able to share
Yeah.
my experiences with everyone.
Thank you, Annetta. So listen, girlfriends, just remember that to teach a child is to touch a life. And as we homeschool, we not only touch a life, we shape the future through our efforts of homeschooling. So keep making a positive impact day after day and year after year. And take Annetta's advice. She told us at the beginning of the show to be flexible. Just have that fluidity in your way of doing thing and your thinking, and just relax and relax. And
Pretty much.
trust the process, because it all pans out very well. So again, to all of you, I'm Angela Jordan Perry, and the host of this Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Jordan Perry. Thank you all for joining in, and I love to hear your comments and your feedback. Please share that with me, and then also be sure again to hit the share button if you have not gone over to Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Jordan Perry. Be sure to go over there on the Facebook page, follow and like the page, and then find us on YouTube. The same thing, Girlfriend Got the Homeschooling, on Tumblr and Instagram. Get connected and let's get social, okay? So until our next interview, you all be blessed, and peace to all of you. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.